Hi everyone. Thanks for coming to your mat today. I have designed a practice with 3 steps designed to help bring us into easy seat or sukhasana. This is the pose that you see me in now, seated cross-legged. I hear from many of my students that this is difficult. It's difficult to get into and it's difficult to hold. And it's a pose that we come into really often in yoga classes. We often start in easy seat or finish in easy seat. Even though there's an option to be on your knees or do something else, I think there's a lot of people that would like to get into easy seat. So I designed this practice. I hope it helps. So let's get started. Bring your hips to the middle of the mat, knees are bent. Support yourself as you're coming down. Bring your block to a place where you're going to be able to grab it. Lower yourself all the way down onto the mat. Get nice and comfortable. Feel your spine long here. Maybe tuck the shoulder blades in just a little bit. Tuck the chin into the throat. And then take your block in your hand and press into your feet to raise your hips. And just slide that block in underneath your hips. Now you want the block to be right underneath your pelvis so that you want the block to be right underneath your pelvis so that it's completely supported by the bony part of your pelvis, not coming out up onto your vertebrae at all. You want to be completely safe here. No pain. You might need to mess with it a little bit till you get it the way you like it, the way it feels good. If you want some more sensation, you can take a second block and stack them so you're a little higher. I recommend starting on the first though, because we do want this to be a gentle restorative practice. So you can stay just like this with your hands next to your hips. I like the palms facing up. And your knees bent, soles of the feet on the mat. If you like, you can bring your feet together, the soles of your feet together. Let the knees fall open. Or alternately, the opposite. Bring your feet to the width of the mat and let your knees fall together. This is really nice to reduce any tension that you might be experiencing in the low belly, the hip flexors. These are all options. No one of them is better than the other. You want to just pick what feels best for you. The final option I have, the one I'm going to stick with, is you can just extend your legs out towards the bottom of your mat. Let your heels rest. Toes can fall open. And a nice opening across the front of the body, particularly around the hips. Your hands can stay next to your hips. You can bring your arms to goalpost arms, or you can reach your hands overhead. Again, nothing's right or wrong here. You want to just find the thing that feels best for you. Now, if a block is too high, and you're feeling uncomfortable in any of the options, go ahead and take the block out and just try a rolled up blanket or an extra yoga mat and slide that lengthwise underneath your hips so that it's going from the left hip to the right hip. Just making sure again that it's not on the vertebrae of the low back, but you're supported by the bony part of your pelvis. a great pose to relax in. Just feel your breath moving across the body now.
find the longer we stay in this pose, the greater relaxation as our bodies learn to melt around the block and open up in the front. We spend so much time flexed at the hips in a seated position that it's really wonderful to spend a little bit of time opening up the front of the body. Having said that, if you want to come out of this pose, bring the soles of your feet to the mat. Slide your hands underneath the block and raise your hips by pressing into your feet, and just take the block out and set it aside. Then gently, slowly lower your spine all the way back down onto the mat so that your spine is completely supported by the floor. Let's stay here for a few breaths and just feel how the spine feels after it's been elongated in this fashion. Just observe how you feel. We're coming to our next pose. We're going to take a little supine twist. So bring your hands out to the sides, straight out from your shoulders. If you want a little bit of a chest opener, you can bring your arms to goalpost arms. Again, it's a choice, whichever you prefer. I just want you to be very relaxed, both shoulder blades down on the mat. If you have a hard time getting the backs of your head to the mat, you might want to go back to a T position. I like to bump my hips just a little bit over to the left and then let both knees fall over to the right. Keeping my left shoulder blade down on the mat. Now I want this to be a really relaxing pose for you. So if you're having a hard time, if your knees don't make it down onto the mat to rest, grab that block. Just slide it underneath your knees to give yourself a little bit of support there. We do want to keep your left shoulder blade down on the mat so the collarbones, the chest are facing up towards the ceiling and the knees over to the right side. The left hip is stacking above the right. Getting a wonderful twist right in the mid region of the spine. Feeling some lengthening through the low back. Definitely lengthening through the side body on the left outside of the left hip. If you want to bring that twist right up through the cervical spine, if that feels good for you, you can draw your chin to your left shoulder. And then try here to release all muscular effort. Be completely relaxed. You're ready to come out of this pose. Just roll the back of your pelvis back down onto the mat. Take a minute to elongate the spine again. Bring the hips back to center. Again, see how that feels after we've twisted in one direction. The body almost desires to go in the other direction. So pressing into your feet, slide your hips slightly over, just a little bump over to the left, and let the knees, or over to the right, hips to the right, knees to the left. Again, you can draw your chin to your right shoulder to bring the twist right up through the cervical spine. If you don't want to, if it bothers your neck, just keep looking up. Keep your gaze behind your shut eyelids up towards the ceiling. Chest is facing the ceiling. Right hip stacked over the left. Again, feel free to pad the knees. Bring something underneath the knees if you don't come all the way down comfortably, or if you find your right shoulder pops up. Just pad the knees so that you can have your twist without having any need for any muscular effort or discomfort. It's a nice gentle twist. We should be able to stay in it for some time. Feeling the breath move across the side body, opening up the muscles in around the ribs, stretching out the side of the right hip, lengthening the low spine. Don't be surprised here if you feel very different on this side than you did on the other. Maybe you're tighter, maybe you're more open. That's really natural. Just go with it. come out of this pose, begin by bringing your gaze straight up, and then roll the back of your pelvis back down onto the mat. Straighten out the spine. See how you feel here. Now we've elongated the spine with the block straight down the middle and twist it from side to side. Draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little hug here. You can rock from side to side on your hips. Give the low back a small massage. Just a feel-good thing to do. And draw your hands behind your knees, just behind your thighs, just above the knees. And keeping your chin tucked, you can rock and roll the length of your spine, giving it a nice massage, coming all the way up to sit. If that doesn't work for you, you can just roll to one side or the other and then come up to sit. I'm going to turn now so I'm facing you. Extend the left foot long and bring your right foot, the sole of your foot, to the inside of your thigh. Roll the shoulders back and down. Nice big breath in here. And then you can stay seated just like this, getting a nice opening, a new kind of opening in the hip. Or you can work on the low back a little bit as well, just by coming to a forward fold. Very gently now, hands are next on either side of your extended leg, and just walk them forward, taking it very easy. Come as far forward as is comfortable for you. If you want, you can take your block and put it on your knee, underneath your forehead, or maybe on the floor. Whatever feels good for you if you want to have the weight of your head supported. Otherwise, you can just use that weight of your head to further bring you into the pose. Let gravity draw you down. So we're not holding the sides of the leg, the ankle, the foot, and pulling ourselves forward, but just letting gravity, along with the time spent in the pose, bring us deeper into this pose. If your back is bothered, feel free to bring that left knee to a bend. Make this pose work for you. And again, feel the breath moving across the back body now. Light on the inhale, grounding on the exhale. When you're ready to come out of this pose, support with yourself with your hands on your mat on either side of your leg, and just walk your hands in towards the body, supporting yourself as you bring your hips back up over, or your shoulders back up over your hips. And extend the right leg long now. Bring the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Turn your body a little bit so that you're facing out over that right thigh. So you're getting a very slight twist here. And again,
You can stay here just like this. And this, again, may feel very different than the first side. So don't let that bother you, and just work with your edge, with your sensations. Let these poses be yours. So there's no need to make one side the exact same as the other. Take your time. And if you're able, or if you want, begin to walk the hands forward, coming into this forward fold. Right knee can remain soft. Takes a little bit of the pressure, the stretch. We are getting a hamstring stretch here. Opening up the left hip, the low back, the right hamstring. To come out of this, walk your hands in on either side of your leg. Slowly bring your shoulders up over your hips. Now I want to finish out this practice in easy pose, a cross-legged pose, where both ankles are underneath the opposite shins. I hear from some of my live students and from some of my online students that easy pose is hard for you, that it's difficult on the hips, the low back. So the poses that we've been in are designed to lead us into easy pose. And of course it's called an easy pose, and we think it should be easy, but it really isn't. And many yoga classes are started in this pose, which can make things even more difficult. So I wanted to go through a few ideas of things that you can do to make easy pose a little bit more comfortable. Number one is take a block. Set it underneath your sits bones. Doesn't matter if your hips are high or lifted. What does matter is that your sits bones are pointing down evenly into the mat or into the block, so that you're not leaning to one side or the other. So that's what I need you to focus on here. Now, some of you tell me that the block doesn't really help. My suggestion would be then to get another block and bring yourself up even higher. Again, not an issue. What you're aiming for here to make this pose more comfortable is to bring your hip bones higher at the level of your knees or even higher. So keep building up fingertips to your hip bones and realize that where they are higher. If you don't like the blocks, it's not comfortable for you, you can fold a blanket or get a really stiff pillow and sit on those, or a poof. All of these things can make things more comfortable for you when you're seated. An easy seat. Now the other thing you can do, some people, the issue is in the ankles, not so much the hips. Now I'll link at the end of this practice to my practice to open up the ankles And you could try that as well to add a little more flexibility in around your ankles. But something you can do here is if you have a blanket, just roll it up and tuck it around your ankles and underneath the knees. Gives the knees a little more support, gives the hips a little more support, and it cushions the ankles slightly. So you can be a little bit more comfortable. So you might want to pause the video right now, play around with these options, and then come back and we'll spend a few moments sitting in easy pose together. So I'm hoping you found a way now to make easy pose more comfortable for you. Got both sitting bones pointed down into the mat, the blanket, the block. Rise your spine till it's as long as it can be, pulling the rib cage up and away from the hip bones. Roll the shoulders forward, back, and down. Chin slightly tucked for a nice long neck. You can rest your hands on your thighs or on your knees, wherever it's comfortable. If you find that you're putting pressure into your hands to hold yourself up, turn your hand palms up. Here you can take a mudra if you like, bringing your first finger nail inside your thumb to your thumbprint. Or you can just let your fingertips curl in towards the palm, just to be nice relaxed hands. And big breath in. And as you exhale, shut your eyes. Draw your attention now to the base of your spine, right down at your tailbone, where you are secure and safe and supported by the floor, the mat, the blanket, whatever you're sitting on. And as you sit here, I'd like you to draw your attention all the way up your spine with your inhale. So as you inhale, bring your attention all the way up your spine, paying attention to each part of your spine. The low back, the mid region of the spine, the shoulder, between the shoulder blades, the upper back, the neck, all the way to the crown of the head. And as you exhale, allow your attention to drift all the way back down the spine to the tailbone. Try here to time your breath and the time it takes to draw your attention up and down your spine. Try to bring them together so that as you reach the top of your breath, you also reach the top of your head. And as you reach the bottom of your breath, you reach your tailbone. Your attention reaches your tailbone. Continue breathing and focusing your attention in this way. Palms back down onto your thighs, softly open your eyes. I hope you enjoyed this practice. I hope you found a way to make easy seat a little more easy. Please let me know in the comments if this practice helped you to come into easy seat, or if there's another pose that you'd like me to work into with you. I really enjoy making these classes, and if you share, subscribe to my channel, this really helps me to continue making them. Have a great day, everybody.